Good evening. Today is Wednesday, October 8th, 2025. May I have a motion to open the Hendrick Hudson Board of Education meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? The Hendrick Hudson School District Board of Education will now move to executive session. The Hendrick Hudson School Board Board of Education will convene for the purpose of collective negotiations under the Taylor Law, medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment or employment or promotion or demotion or discipline or suspension or removal of a particular person or corporation. May I ask for a motion to move to executive session?
Motion to move to executive session.
Second.
All in favor? Good evening. Tonight is Wednesday, October 8th, 2025, and welcome back to the Hendrick Hudson Board of Education meeting. May we all please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can I ask for a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you, and now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Trombley.
Good evening, everyone. It feels like just a week ago we were doing something similar, just in a different building. We have begun our annual visits to our building because the Board of Education values seeing our schools in action, because most of the decisions they make, the discussions they have, deal directly with our schools. So we want to be in the building. So I commend the board for taking that approach, and we are very grateful to the Frank G. Lindsay Elementary School and Principal Mr. Mackin for being the first host of the year of us as we visit. So I would like to now have Mr. Mackin come forward and lead our recognition portion of the board meeting.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me, and welcome to Frank G. Lindsay. I want to extend any time, obviously, that you'd like to come and see the real action when everybody's here. You're welcome to come and say hello. So come on in. Tonight's a special night. You know, Mike tasked us with trying to find some students that we could honor tonight. In elementary school, it's a little hard at the beginning of the year. They're doing a benchmarking. There's a lot going on. It's not like the high school, so where you could pick an athlete very easily. But we have someone that we're going to recognize from our student body. But I thought it would be appropriate to recognize a few critical people. And I do know there was some recognition earlier in the year, but these particular people deserve the honor they're going to receive tonight. So the first group is our counselor group. Ms. Brooke Boland, Mrs. Joanna Andino, and Andrea Miranda, who's here with her lovely daughter. I'm incredibly proud to recognize the outstanding dedication and care of our student support team. Guidance counselor Brooke Boland, school psychologist Joanna Andino, and social worker Andrea Miranda. Together, their expertise, compassion, unwavering commitment help create a caring and supportive environment for every child at Frank G. Lindsay. Whether providing one-on-one guidance, leading group sessions, or partnering with families and staff, they do everything with the students' best interests at heart. Because of their tireless efforts, our students feel safe, valued, and empowered to succeed each and every day. And I'm very thankful to have them. They work tirelessly every day, coming up with new ways to interact with our students. So I want to thank them for their service to Frank G. and to the district. Our second recognition is Miss Antoinette Pio in the cafeteria, and those of you that know me know that food is an important staple in my life. So I want to thank Antoinette for her warm and steady presence here at Frank G. She came over from BV with me, and it's been a pleasure. She ensures every student receives a nutritious meal, served with kindness and a smile. Her dedication helps fuel not only student bodies, but also welcoming spirit of our school community, and that creates a welcoming and friendly environment where students feel cared for and respected. And her kindness and reliability and work ethic do not go unnoticed at all. I'm just amazed how Antoinette actually remembers every student's name coming through the lunch line and the rapport she has. And I've spoken to her before and thanked her for, making that an important part of their day, not just a transactional kind of relationship. And they really look to her for a lot of things, not just ketchup and, extra lettuce and all that stuff. They look to her, they look to her as an adult in the building that they can depend on. So thank you for that. Thank you for maximizing what you do in the cafeteria. And then our last staff member, before we get to the big fella, is Kathleen Abraham, our wonderful nurse. We're so grateful for her, whose skilled and gentle care supports the well-being of every student. Her calm professionalism brings comfort and reassurance, and her commitment to student health ensures a safe environment for all. Kathleen serves as a trusted resource for students, staff, and families alike, and definitely for me. She takes the time to listen, educate, and advocate for student wellness, often going above and beyond her responsibilities to support the physical and emotional well-being of every child. And I truly appreciate everything you do for not only our kids, but our other staff in the building, because emergencies just don't happen with children. But thank you so much, Kathleen, for your your dedication to our kids. And take a lunch, will you? You guys are taking a lunch. She doesn't take lunch. She's busy. Nurse office is busy. And then our last recognition, I'm sorry I'm going a little long here, but our student recognition for tonight is Gio Franzoso. So come on up here, Gio. I'm going to make a stand. I've known Gio. Come on, man. Where's your trunk? All right, I've known Gio since, what, third grade, second grade? Second grade, yeah. And it's been an honor to work with him and his family. It's my honor to recognize you tonight, Gio, for your remarkable contribution to the 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony. Gio's moving performance of taps on the trumpet brought a powerful and heartfelt presence to our event. Your talent and poise helped set a tone of deep respect and reflection, and reminding us all of the importance of honoring those we remember on this day. Gio, your dedication and musicianship created a truly meaningful and formal atmosphere, allowing our school community to come together in unity and remembrance. When Gio went up to play, he passed me. We were walking behind the podium. He's like, I never played for this many people before. So that was the first time I actually saw him a little bit shaky and rattled, but he pulled it off like a champ. So congratulations. And I think Mr.
If you want to come up
Thank you.
even farther, thank you, Mr. Mackin. Please stay up so we can help come have your other staff members come. So, Gio, we're going to have you turn around and we're going to present. We can have your family come up as well. On behalf of the Board of Education, we want to present a certificate of appreciation to you for being recognized. So we'll have your parents come up there. Congratulations. So we'll ask Ms. Koch, we're going to have you stand right here and have a photo with your parents.
Everybody's running.
So, Mr. Mackin, thank you for those heartfelt words, expressing not only for Gio's efforts at the 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony, but also for recognizing your staff. We do have certificates of appreciation for each of our staff members that Mr. Mackin did recognize, so if you would like to come up, we're going to ask you to come up anyway, even if you don't want to. And we'll have a quick photo. So if we could have Andrea to come up, please.
Joanna.
Do you want them all together, or?
We'll do one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one at a time.
Oh, no, wait, I'm going to move. Let me move Carmen.
Ms. Pio.
They're both
Let me know when you find it.
Peter talk.
I would also like to mention that Antoinette was the co-vice president of the elementary school PTA for 2 years.
Antoinette, don't leave yet.
As the co-president, and she also runs the HKHCEF, which runs a lot of programs for all of the schools in the district and special events. So Antoinette does a lot more for the schools than just work in the kitchen. Yes.
So Kathleen, please come back. Thank you so much for our student. It's great to see you. Let's go with the sailor regalia. So we'll have all the staff, please come out. Please join us. Ask my kids, they're the same way.
Should we come around you? Or?
No, it's okay. This way you can crop me out. Craig G. Lindsay.
Alrighty.
Thank So we do have one more special recognition this evening. We wanted to celebrate one of our scholar athletes, and to help us do that, we have 3 special guests here. We have Mr. Tom Baker, our Director of K-12 Physical Education, Health, and Athletics. We have Coach Marsha Bailey, and we have Mr. Bo Morkey, our transitional administrator for Health, Phys Ed, and Athletics. But Mr. Baker, I'll turn it over to you for the introduction.
Thank you, Mr. Trombley, and thank you to the board for having us here tonight. It's my pleasure tonight to present a young man who won the Con Ed Scholar Athlete Award for us this year. Hendrick Hudson is one of the most successful schools in all of Westchester County in terms of getting Con Ed Award athletes, and this young man was extremely well deserved to get this. A few years ago, I want to talk a little bit about this young man. I told him we're going to talk about him tonight. Victor Delgado, with his family here tonight, mom, dad, and his younger brother. A few years ago, Bales came in my office when Victor was in the midst of his freshman year, and she said, "I got to talk to you about this kid, Victor Delgado." And when Bales says that, you listen, and she'd be in my office the next day. I got to talk to you about Victor Delgado, and he has truly blossomed here. He's a senior for us this year. He's having an extremely successful fall season, winning very large invitationals. I know he has extreme lofty goals for himself this year, but I'd be remiss to say the thing that I'm really most proud of with Victor is seeing him grow into the student athlete and the young man he's become. I can go out to a practice on any given day, and the leader that he has become with his teammates and what he has taken on with them in terms of being a senior role model to them and taking an active piece in their development for younger athletes is truly to be commended. So Victor, I really want to congratulate you on that. So he's had a wonderful year. I just told him a few minutes ago, I'm hoping he keeps us very busy through the month of November. Not as much as she wants to keep busy, but that's okay. But it's just been a tremendous year for him, and he's truly not one of the best runners in the area, not one of the best runners in the section, but one of the best runners, if not the best runner in the state. And he's an exciting person to follow, an exciting run to see. So I'm going to turn it over to Coach Bailey to give a little summary of Victor as well, but it's my pleasure tonight to present Victor Delgado, our recent Con Ed Award winner.
Just a few specifics about what Victor has done. By the end of his junior year, he became the school record holder at both the mile and the 2 mile, the metric, the 1,600 and 3,200 meters. He placed second in New York State last spring in the 3,200 meter run. He holds all of our I keep a top 10 list at the major cross-country courses that we run at. He's been number 1 on that list since last year, and has again improved on his performances. He was, so far this year, he's won 3 major invitationals, kind of not to our liking because he really didn't have any competition. And he was a repeat winner for all 3 of these major competitions. He's looking forward to some competition this weekend and later on in the season and throughout the rest of his senior year. And as Mr. Baker said, we do have some very lofty goals. He is one of the top students. They wouldn't tell me his exact rank, but Dr. Kleiman did say, you could probably say top 5 very comfortably in the senior class. And do you mind if I share? He's.
I didn't want to ask that.
Okay.
I know you're going to.
He's already had official visits at Johns Hopkins, at Princeton, and at Dartmouth. So that's the level academically and athletically where he's at. So without further ado. You can go up with Mr. Conway.
Victor, congratulations. Thank you so much for representing Hendrick Hudson both in the classroom and outside the classroom. And we're very excited to see where you go after you leave the hallowed halls of Hendrick Hudson High School, and keep in touch as you share your milestones, and we're always happy to welcome you back. But we have you for at least another couple months, and we'll present you with this recognition. We'll have your family come up. What's your name, sir? Nice to meet you, Martin. I'm Mr. Oh, nice to meet you. How are you? Here, you go ahead.
So most people think that the meeting does not get any better than that. However, if you would like to stay, we do have a fantastic presentation on our audit report. If not, you can feel free to use this time to get home, enjoy your studies, enjoy some time with your family. But thank you to all of our those who were recognized, and also to Mr. Mackin, Mr. Baker, and to Coach Bailey for taking time to recognize our staff and our students. So thank you very much.
You guys, we are the We said audit. Nobody.
Have a good night, everyone. Coach, you don't want to stay?
This is your thing.
I watch every single meeting,
Excellent.
but I'll watch it after the Yankees.
We wouldn't expect anything less.
I would like to entertain a motion to change the agenda as approved to reflect that we have changed item 3.2 public hearing under non-agenda items to swap with 4.1 FGL recognition.
Motion to swap 3.2 and 4.1.
Second.
All in favor?
Just a bit of housekeeping.
So we just did 4.1, which was the FGL recognition, so we're going to move back to 3.2, hearing of the public on non-agenda items. Carmen, do we have anybody here to speak to us? Thank you. And that leads us to our next presentation, 4.2, PKF O'Connor Davies audit presentation.
Thank you. And as I invite our colleagues from PKF O'Connor Davies to come to the podium, this evening represents a milestone in the fiduciary responsibility and oversight that the Board of Education engages in. Every school district, at least annually, engages in an audit of its financial operations and systems and status. And that is the purpose of this presentation, is to have our external auditor provide their report for last year's fiscal year, and we welcome them to the podium.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you taking the time out of your board meeting to go over these results with us. My name is Chris Koff. I'm one of the partners at PKF in the public service, in the public section. With me tonight is Claudia Legal. She was the manager that was on site during the audit. So we did prepare a PowerPoint, and what we're going to do is first go over a summary of the required communications. Then what we're going to do is highlight some of your 2025 revenues, your expenditures, compare them to your budget. Then we broke down some of your major revenue streams so you can see how they did individually. Then we have a 3-year fund balance analysis. The district does operate some other funds, so we put in their results and their fund balance. And then we have your debt service in there so you can see where you are with your debt and your, how it compares to, where you think you're going. On the next slide, we have management's responsibilities. First and foremost, you need to select and implement the appropriate accounting policies for a district of your size and complexity. You have to fairly present the financial statement according to U.S. GAAP. You have to maintain effective internal controls to safeguard your assets. We also test to see if you're in compliance with laws, regulations, and provisions of your contracts. We like to think it's the most important thing, provide us with all the financial records and related information. And then for the board, you need to set the proper tone at the top. And to do that, we review your minutes, we watch your videos, and we make sure that the public has access and can question things and bring things to your attention. As far as our deliverables go, we have the independent auditor's report. We issue an opinion on your financial statements. Very pleased to say that you received what's known as an unmodified opinion. That's the highest level of assurance that no auditing firm can provide a client. They also got a clean opinion. It's changed names over the years. Now it's basically unmodified. We also provide a yellow book report. We have a report on compliance with your major federal programs, also known as a single audit. Typically that's included in this audit, but because the federal government has not released the compliance requirements yet, it's going to have to be in a separate report as soon as they release those new requirements. As yet, they're not out. We have to do the required communications. That's this and the communications that are included in our management letter. We also issue an extra classroom report. I just want to point out that the audit is done in a very compressed time frame for school districts. Your year end is June 30th. We do some preliminary work in June. We came in, I believe, the second week of August for a week to do the audit. And unfortunately, this year, the state did not issue the pension required communication until after Labor Day. It started out the first week of August, and over the years has now been pushed to the first week of September, which puts more and more pressure on you to meet this October deadline. We need to communicate to you any fraud or illegal acts that are either reported to us during our fraud interviews or that we notice, and we're very happy to say that we did not notice anything that we needed to report. Uncorrected and corrected misstatements, that means that we provide journal entries to you based on the audit. None of them were disputed by management. Any correcting entries were made, and there weren't that many. It's just, again, the compressed time. A lot of times, information comes in subsequent to you closing your books during the course of the audit. For example, the pension. So those come in as, misstatements. The business office, again, was very cooperative, provided us all the information, and we'd like to thank Jill and all our staff for putting up with us for a week and to keep providing us the information for the subsequent 3 or 4 weeks until we issued the report. Next slide, what we did is try to highlight your general fund. So a very quick overview. If you look at the first column, we have your original budget. And if you slide down to the second to last number on the page, you'll see in brackets a negative $4,176,660. If it had been a perfect world when you finished the year, that meant you would have used $4,170,000 of your prior year's surpluses as you came through. That was $420,660 of encumbrances, purchase orders for the prior year that rolled forward, and then you used $3,750,000 of your surplus to help manage your tax levy and the burden on your taxpayer. During the year, you have the right to modify that budget, and you can see it did change by a minor amount, about $50,000, I think exactly 50. And that was money you took out of your repair reserve in order to take care of some things during the course of the year. But your actual results, if you look at that number, it's $1 million positive. So instead of using your surplus, you're actually able to add to the surplus. So through managing your budget, managing your expenditures, you were actually able to increase your surplus, which is important for the district to move forward. So you ended the year with almost $30.3 million in fund balance. We'll go over that on a slide that's a couple down. During the course of the year, you had $336,000 of new encumbrances. Those will roll forward to next year. And the final column is your variance of budget, and you did $4.9 million better than budget. On the next slide, we did highlight your revenues to see how you accomplished that. And you see your property tax came in right on budget. Your school tax relief, the STAR program, you did come in slightly under, and that's because that number is never accurate until the state finally pays you. Pilots, you came in about $80,000 under what you anticipated, but the sales tax from the county came in about $438,000 better, so the county shares that sales tax with you. The next item was your day school tuition. You came in a little bit better than budget, so you had a few more students enroll. And you used the money in property. That's something you do control, and you can see that you did come in $600,000 better. So you were able to garnish higher interest rates through the NICLAS and NILAF program, and you managed your funds, so you did do about $600,000 better. Again, we all know the Federal Reserve is lowering interest rates, so you probably won't see that going forward, at least that volume of numbers. Your state aid did come in under by about $250,000. And again, that's because when you put your budget together early in the year, those state aid numbers are never final until the state adopts its budget. And if I'm not mistaken, the state was a little late this year on adopting their budget. State aid from the Special Mitigation Fund was about $10 million. And again, a little $32,000 better than you anticipated. And then miscellaneous and other came in about $389,000 better than you anticipated. A lot of that was due to the finance office cleaning up some old purchase orders that were outstanding, and you were able to cancel those purchase orders, and that's what's known as a refund of prior year expense. So overall, you did about $1.3 million better than you anticipated on your revenue, with the bulk of it being in the interest earnings category. On your expenditure side, on the next, it's a little harder to give you exactly where you save money because your budget contains hundreds of lines, but to sum it up, your operation and maintenance plan came in about $350,000 better than budget. Claudia, that was a program.
Part of the air monitoring project, your expenditures came in lower than you anticipated, so resulting in a favorable variance of $350,000 with the budget.
Your teaching regular school came in about $700,000 better than budget. A lot of that is due to vacant positions, new hires. When you do your budget, you have the salary in for the individual that was previous in the position. When you hire somebody new, they come in at a starting salary. So you did about $700,000 better there. Students with disabilities came in about $180,000 under. Again, you never know how many students are going to be in the program, so your budget kind of has to do worst case scenario, and you came in a little bit better. Teachers' retirement came in under budget by about $200,000. A lot of that, again, is because you don't know the final rates, and also as you save money on salaries, you pay less in the retirement. Health insurance, always a big unknown and always a conversation because you're part of the NISHIP and MEDCO programs. Those final rates aren't known until probably halfway through your year, so you again plan for the worst case. In this case, rates weren't as bad as anticipated, still an increase, but they came in less than that increase. Debt service did come in slightly over budget. Transfers to the capital fund came in the same amount under budget. And all others came in about $1 million better than budget. Again, you have a lot of lines. I think we looked in, a lot of that was on your IT line. You did come in under on your IT line for maintenance contracts and renewal licenses. I think you switched to a new software where you went to BOCES from a private vendor and you saved about $400,000 or $500,000 on those lines. So overall, I think you can be pretty pleased that you managed your budget. You came in under budget on your expenditures. You were conservative on your revenues, so you came in over budget on your revenues. And therefore, although you planned and were able to give your taxpayers relief, you also put that money back in to your fund balance so you can use it in future years. So overall, the district had a good budget. On the next slide, we'll talk about your fund balance. Your total fund balance, if you look down on the line, is about $30 million. Of that, 23 of it is restricted. So you've set it aside for very specific purposes. You have $1.7 million set aside for repairs, because again, you never know what's going to happen as your buildings age. So you've put together about $1.7 million for that. We won't talk about the $20 for unemployment. You put away money for the ERS and the TRS, about $700,000. Again, with those rates, every year those rates vary. You've now been able to use the state restricted amount to put away money again for future budgets. And you have $16 million set aside for the stabilization fund, again, due to the closure of Indian Point. You've put away $16 million, you used 3 of it, you can see this year to balance the budget, but you still have $16 million to go forward to help mitigate the loss of the large taxpayer in the municipality. So overall, your unassigned is now $5.9 million. That is 6.21%, which is over the state requested amount of 4%. But again, facing what you're facing, I can see why you're doing that. And you need that money for future years because again, you have some big unknowns out there. As I said, you do operate some other funds. Your first one is the Capital Projects Fund. Right there, unfortunately, it shows a deficit of $475,000. That's an accounting deficit. What happened is you took out a bond anticipation note on some projects. That's not recognized as revenue on your books until you convert it to permanent financing. So therefore, it shows a deficit, but you have $1.3 million in those bands that eventually will become a revenue and then turn that deficit into a surplus. You have a special aid fund, you have your school lunch fund, you have $300,000 of surplus there. Again, the state has a requirement and you're under that requirement for the fund balance. You have a special purpose fund, which also includes your extra classroom activities. Those are fundraising donations that are made again and have to be used for a specific purpose. And then you do have about $1.5 million in your debt service fund, which is an accumulation of the earnings on the bonded money while it's not spent on a capital project. And then when you have a premium on a bond, or you have some other savings on a closed capital project, and that money is restricted to pay down debt. So you can only use it during the budget process to pay down the debt that you borrowed that generated that profit. Or I should say surplus, not profit. On the next slide, we have listed your debt. The district only has 4 bonds outstanding. Your total outstanding debt is about $19.3 million. You can see most of that was in a current bond that you borrowed for renovations to your districts. And if you look at the first column and the second chart, you'll see the amortization. And I think, again, the district should be pleased and your bond rating should be pleased. Almost 75% of your debt will be exhausted after 10 years. That's a very aggressive pay down schedule. You didn't use 30-year bonds, you did a more aggressive schedule, took advantage of lower interest rates by doing shorter term debt. So in 10 years, almost 75% of your debt will be paid off. So I think that's something that is looked favorably on by the rating agencies. Then closing, I think always the biggest elephant in the room is always Indian Point, Holtec, what's going to happen there, the state cessation money. So we do have a disclosure in the report, just putting it in as a risk. And again, I think you're well aware of that risk, and that's why you set up that almost $20 million. And you have that available to help cushion and take the hit over a period of time. So it's incumbent upon you as a board, I think, to plan like 5 years out so you can see where the state's going. We know the state might have a little uncertainty as the federal government is trying to reduce its deficit, and they're looking at the federal Department of Education. They pass money through to the state. So I guess you just need to stay in touch with your state representatives to make sure that your funding is secure. And basically the district's in great shape. You did a good job managing your budget. You've done a good job of replenishing your surplus. And hopefully that assists you going forward.
Thank you very much for that presentation. And before we transition to board questions, I do want to pass along my thanks to you and your firm, not only for this presentation, but also for coming in and taking that objective look and sharing with our community and the board your outside, unbiased perspective based upon the facts before you. So I thank you for that. Thank you to Jill and her staff in the business office. This is a Herculean effort that begins almost immediately following, even right up before the end of the school year. So from coordination, from preparing for the budget, for supporting the, coordinating the audit, supporting the audit work, and working with our firm to finalize that report and communicating with the board, but also your management of the budget that is adopted by the board and passed by the community. that is a testament to your professionalism and to the care and concern that you have for the community. So thank you very much, Jill, for that. And to the board for going all the way back to the December of last year, of the previous year, so that would be December of 2023, for beginning your budget discussions on what that budget development might look like. That wonderful mandatory day of fun on that Saturday in March to go through each line. And I think you're seeing the yield of it with a budget that you communicated to the community, that you value transparency in the development of that budget and in the execution of that budget as well, and now the reporting out of what that budget looked like. So thank you for your fiduciary oversight in that matter too. And I will open up to the board questions to either myself, our PKO Davies partners, or Jill and I, if there are any.
I just have a clarifying question on page 55, just to, so I understand of the supporting report. At the end on the presentation page, just so I wanted to understand it. Hold on, I gotta scroll. I think it's page 11.
On the presentation.
Yes, so on page 8, we have the total fund balance of in 2025 is $30,304,062.
Correct.
And then on page 55 of and under fund balance is $32 million. And that's, so what is the non-major governmental funds? Is
Those
that
are all those
cessation?
other ones that I listed, your
The
special
cessation
aid, your school lunch.
That's
Those are-
the 2 million,
that's-
so.
Yeah, that's a summary of those.
So, okay, so that's in it, so 30 million is what's in the general fund and the 32 million is,
Grand total.
okay, and that's reflected on a different page?
Yes, it's on page 9
Of the PowerPoint.
of the PowerPoint.
Yeah, I'm looking at.
Those are the three small funds on the far right side. They add up to the 2 million,
The
187.
1.5, the 312, and the 307, okay.
Right.
Got it.
So just for clarification, Trustee Mills, it would be the page 55 of the final 2025 Hendrick Hudson UFSD, should be Hendrick Hudson CSD, that document,
Mhm.
and then the corresponding page on page 9 of the PowerPoint.
Yes, it's 8 and 9, so you need 8 and 9 to understand the full.
The total. We always segregate out the general fund, because that's your main operating fund.
Yep.
That's where you raise the property tax. That's, where you're usually feeling the most pressure.
Mhm.
The others are restricted funds, donations, the school lunch, and you can't use them for general operating purposes.
And I guess for the board, the next steps here are just to make sure that we are in line with the recommendations, so going forward. And there's a report here as well about what that looks like in the board's response. Is there a timeline for compliance on some of these corrective action? I'm looking more at the capital project funds recommendation, that we should close out those accounts. And then the cafeteria balances. So there's balances we're carrying over year that are cafeteria balance. So before we decide what we're doing, if we're going to absorb them or not, can we bring that to the public and have a conversation about that?
Yeah, we can, sure.
And then what's the timeline on getting the capital project funds, all of that squared out?
So we're working on that now. There are projects that were remaining, which is, if you look at the debt service fund balance that you were mentioning on page 55, that does make up the bulk of what that $32 million, the difference between the 30 and the 32,
yep.
which is remaining money left over from prior projects, either through premiums that were made or interest earnings on the borrowings, or maybe slightly different amount remaining after we borrowed that was left over from a project. But until we do all of the forensics on that throughout the year, which we plan on, we're gonna close them out before the end of the school year. So if that answers your question. So we hope to be able to utilize some of that $1.5 million in our budget planning for this year. We can choose to help us supplement the revenues that we need to make ends meet this year in our budget. And we'll be able to do that once we do the forensics on the projects, because I have to make sure that everything has been categorized correctly. It's not something we focused on this past year, because we were focusing on a lot of other parts of the operating budget.
All right, so that's a good thing.
Yep.
And then when do we have to decide how we're handling the cafeteria balance? Do we have a timeline on when we have to make a decision on that?
As far as remaining leftover funds in there, no, we're looking at what is, remaining for students that are active in the district, and then any funds that were deposited for, or shortages or overages from students that have already gone past. That is going to take time this year to sort out, and people and hands on.
I know.
And so that is something that I can't promise you 100% we'll get it done by the end of the year, but I'm hoping to. That's our goal.
Just to clarify on that, since this report and since that, have you collected some of the funds back from?
No, not since the summer.
Okay.
No, we haven't done any.
No, their focus was on the audit.
Okay.
We will be.
I have a quick question. I guess what is the recommendation for us to get to the 4% that we should be at in the fund balance, so we're more compliant than the 6.21%?
I think the best thing for you to do would be look at some of the restrictions that you have already established and make sure they're funded up to their correct level. And maybe you can move some of that money through a board resolution from the unassigned into the restricted categories, so that that money is set aside for the specific purpose.
So can I just add to that? So Chris, I know you weren't on like the audit while it was going on and that Rob was here. What we talked about during that time was we could have allowed monies to be restricted into certain categories and not have the 6.2% remaining. But another rule, OSC rule, is to be able to make sure that you have liquid cash in your accounts to cover your restricted reserves. At June 30th, if we go by that date, right, because that's where it ends, we wouldn't have had enough above in the restricted area of the fund balance to cover more than 4%, more than what's there now. So we left the remaining drop to the unrestricted, but it was a choice we had to make, and I would say that I would rather know that what we have as restricted funds are actually restricted and we have those liquid funds.
So the
I
main,
think to Jill's point, I'm sorry.
the main concern was to make sure that we could cover expenses that we had in that time period while there was not a lot of revenue coming in from cash flow.
Right,
From
our
warrants.
cessation fund money is recorded in the fiscal year that it belongs in, but yet it doesn't come in until January of 2026. We have $10 million out there that is not ours yet. So it's a receivable, but it's not liquid cash. So I didn't feel like we could reserve more than what we actually had in the bank.
Thank you.
And to Jill's point, if you're going to get a criticism from New York State, your criticism is better off on the 4% than it is having restricted money not in your pocket. So I mean, this is the better way to present it.
And so the recommendation, after we see maybe some of that unrestricted work out after we've now gone through a couple months of the school year, is to revisit, and we might recommend transfers from the general fund into some of those established reserves.
Right, or as we end the year next
Right.
year, we'll try to meet that. Right?
In May or
Try to meet
June
that
next
goal.
year, you would review all your restricted and your unsigned and make the appropriate board recommendations at that point. What a lot of boards do is, for example, the ERS or even your restricted fund for the Indian Point problem, they'll say we authorize up to a certain amount. Because you don't know the exact amount until the audit's done. So you may create a fund and do a transfer, or authorize a transfer that says up to a certain amount, and that way you're covered to get to your 4%. But once you know the cash is in the bank.
Yes.
I just have a quick question. I think I'm loud enough, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm loud enough. This is my second time going through the audit, 'cause I'm in my second term. So I'm curious, I know, we have the corrective action plan in place. Do you see improvements from last year to this year? Things that have been corrected, progress that has been made towards those kinds of things?
I do. From last year, I was not on last year's audit, but I was on the audit in previous years. But I was also working with some of the team members who were also on the audit last year. And there has been a tremendous improvement from the year before. Jill and Kim and their team worked so hard to get the audit prepared, and they had the books ready for us on day one. They were able to answer all of our questions and any adjustments we discussed through, and we were able to get the audit completed and on time. But very great improvement from last year. And I thank Jill and her team again for getting this done.
Thank you, Jill.
And that's also one of the procedures too, is we look at
I was
last
gonna
year's
ask, is that a
comments.
metric that you?
Yeah, we look at last year's comments, go through them and
Yeah.
see if they've been addressed. If they have been addressed, then they'll be in there again. And at some point, we may highlight them or asterisks or something to let you know it's a repeat comment.
Right. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time, we appreciate it.
Thank you, Jill.
And again, if you have any questions that come up over the course of the year, please let us know. We're only down the street. We can come by and answer any questions you need.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
And at this time, Jill, you're more than welcome to stay. Or
Or doing this.
All right.
Okay, so we are moving forward. We are up to the consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they want to pull from the consent agenda?
I'd like to make a motion to pull fiscal 5.4 acceptance of DSNY grant for security improvements at the high school. Second.
Does anybody have anything else they would like to pull? Can we get a second to that motion?
Second.
All in favor? Would we like to, can I ask for motion to approve the consent agenda minus 5.4 fiscal acceptance of DSNY grant for security improvements at the high school?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, so let's look at item DSNY grant for security improvements at the high school.
So the reason I wanted to pull this is order almost to handle like a donation where you give an explanation to the public on what it is, what it may or may not cover, what the work might look like.
Sure. So my understanding is that this was a previous grant that was applied for through the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York for capital improvement projects. Particularly, this was focused on security camera enhancements that the district had already applied for, had actually received in terms of the project. There was a paperwork that needed to be revisited, and we wanted to, in transparency, wanted to put it back up to have the board officially accept the donation. I believe actually the equipment is installed already.
I think it's been done, yes.
Yeah, and so I would classify it as a grant and aid, rather than a donation.
Right, yeah, but I think it's important to explain these things to.
Right. So it's just something to complete paperwork so we can get the funds.
Correct.
Okay, but I think the work is completed at that.
Correct.
Right, that is correct.
So that particular agency has while the grant may not be a competitive grant, it's more of an application and demonstrating need there, they do have a very rigorous and thorough paperwork process, and just wanted to, there was a revisit of that paperwork to make sure that we had everything accounted for.
Can I ask for motion to accept the DASNY grant for security improvements at the high school?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, we are up to our audience comments on agenda items. Carmen, do we have anyone here to speak on agenda items?
Thank you, Jill.
And turning it back over to Mr. Tremblay for the superintendent's report.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
this evening. Very brief update this evening. We did have a pretty thorough cabinet update and superintendent's update last week. I do just want to highlight a few things that we will be addressing in the next couple weeks. Just as a reminder, for this Friday, the 10th of October, we will have an emergency dismissal bus drill. So that there'll be a reminder going out on Parent Square too, but for everybody at home glued to the YouTube or the stream, this is just a reminder that this Friday we will be practicing an emergency preparedness measure that provides us with a valuable opportunity to practice hopefully what would never need to be enacted, which would be a student evacuation and a bus evacuation at all buildings. So all of our buildings this Friday will dismiss 15 minutes earlier than our normal schedule. So the high school will be dismissing at 1:58 p.m. Frank G. Lindsay will be dismissing at 2:20. Blue Mountain Middle School at 2:30. Furnace Woods at 3 o'clock, and Buchanan Verplank at 3 p.m. If we have questions about our after-school programs, such as Mother Connection, just spoke to them on the way out as well. They are contacting their own parents on the process for the evacuation and then the return to program. Sports, we've done this a couple years where the kids do go home and then they do return for the practices. So that will all be communicated at the building level or at the coach level, and that will be occurring again this Friday, October 10th. Also, this morning's rainstorm reminded me that we need to be prepared for inclement weather season. It's not only budget season coming up, but also perhaps snow season. So to be proactive, we will be conducting a test of our emergency notification system. That will be a district-wide test, I anticipate, on October 24th. That's a Friday at 6 p.m. We did it last year on a Friday and found that it was helpful because, number one, it didn't wake people up in the morning, and it's just merely a test to see if you will receive the messages. So this will be the system we use for any emergencies such as inclement weather delays, closures, or early dismissals. As part of the test, we anticipate that you will receive a text message, email, or phone message based upon how parents or users have their Parent Square notification set up. So if you do not receive any of these, and we'll communicate this out again, we'll send a reminder right before we do the test a couple days. If you do not receive any or all of the messages as a parent or community member, the best course of action would be to verify your contact information through the Infinite Campus portal or to reach out to the building office where your children attend school. If you cannot access the Infinite Campus portal, please contact Portal Support, so that's P-O-R-T-A-L, support, S-U-P-P-O-R-T, at henhudschools.org. And if you don't receive any or all of the messages as a staff member, please contact your building main office. We'll also make sure that we put these instructions in a couple written correspondences as reminders to make sure everybody is prepared for that emergency test and thereafter for any need for that system in the future. There are no questions requiring follow-up. I just got notice from my wife that children are in a new car. Apparently they bought a new car. So, well, hopefully not the kids, because maybe their credit's not as good as mine. But hopefully they're enjoying the new car, but they go to bed soon. So there are no questions requiring follow-up, and that's all we have for the cabinet and superintendent report.
I just want. Do you want to mention the early release day on the 20th? Or no?
Let me
Or
double
not
check.
yet? I just feel like some people have been asking about that in times.
Let me just double
okay.
check.
You mentioned that on Friday. There's an early release day on the 20th, right?
Yes, on Monday.
I'm still at work.
Yeah, but give me just 1 second to double check
Sorry.
something. It's okay.
We don't have to talk
No,
about
no,
it.
we'll
I
get
just
to it.
figured since you mentioned the one on coming
So
Friday.
I'll fill some time.
We don't think
Just
that's hard to
an
do.
update too, in case anyone was wondering about this Friday's early release, that is statewide? Is that statewide? I know other
At
boards-
least regional,
East regional, okay.
through our PNW
So
BOCES, yes.
all schools will be
Yeah.
doing that as well. It's not distinct to HenHud.
Yes, we do have early release. These are I just want to make sure I had the days correct. Yes, it is not just for HenHud, sorry.
Yes.
We will have our early release for Blue Mountain Middle School at 12:25. Buchanan Verplank will be at 1:15. Frank G. Lindsay will be at 12:20. Furnace Woods will be at 1:15. The high school will release at 11:50. And there's also a PTA meeting that evening for the elementary schools at 7 p.m., just in case anybody's wondering. It is going to be October 20th. That is a Monday. Thank you.
Thank you. And we are moving on to new business, and we will be following up with our board goal discussion. So last meeting, we looked at the board goals for 2025-2026. As always, we know that we are leading this work with our mission in mind. to have a dynamic, innovative, and supportive educational community to ensure students are engaged, passionate learners who achieve their maximal potential and contribute to society. The objectives are still the same, that we're going to create our annual goals, and we are going to refine the goals that we drafted last week. We already went through the roles of the board trustees, and we are going to move to slide number 13, please. Okay, so last week we presented 5 potential goals that we had been brainstorming previously. We did remove one on policy. I'm just doing a policy update for the 5,000 plus series, but you will see that embedded in the action items for some of these. So these are the 4 goals that after last week's discussion, I compiled everybody's feedback and created these 4 goals. So the first one is to monitor the progress of facility improvements, which we had last week. Last week it was focusing on mainly the capital project. We are going to just make that included in this goal through regular reports and updates to ensure alignment with district goals, long-term planning, and community needs. 2 was about community engagement, and we enhanced it for this one to strengthen community engagement and foster Hendrick Hudson pride by supporting, promoting, and participating in centennial year celebrations that honor the district's history and build connections for the future. 3 was one that we did not change or alter, that is approve a fiscally responsible budget that aligns with district priorities and supports long-term financial stability. And 4 was on the curriculum and student success, and we enhanced that one to also include student wellness. So we have established a structured quarterly review process to monitor student success by tracking academic achievement, curriculum implementation, and student wellness indicators, ensuring the district remains on track to meet its strategic goals for academic excellence and student well-being. So now we can look at each of those individually. Actually, before we look at those individually, does anybody have any of those goals that they want to remove, enhance, or talk about as a whole before we look at them individually? Did we capture what was discussed last week?
I have some thoughts on individual,
Okay, so
what
we'll-
you have up there represents it well, but
So then, yeah, we can move in through the action items. So let's go back to action items for number 1 with monitoring the progress of facility improvement. So we also updated based on the feedback how we would do that. We did talk about reviewing and approving a 10-year facilities and building improvement plan. We've talked about we have increased the facilities budget, so we wanted to monitor how that was being used. Do we see a difference in our facilities with that improvement? And increase getting monthly updates and making sure that we're communicating that out to the public. And this policy, the goal number 1 that we had last week on policy, you're going to see now is embedded in almost all of our goals here. So specifically for this goal would be the 7,000 series that we would be looking at reviewing and revising as this bill recommends and we see for the district. So does anybody have anything they want to remove in the action items or reword or add on?
I just have a couple of thoughts that would enhance what we already have written here. Apologies, last week I wasn't feeling great, so I was kind of quiet, which is not like me. So, but I like to sort of make action items like very simple, so and obvious as to like what we can do. And I was just thinking about what things. One thing I feel like we can better utilize the facilities committee, which in general, I feel like we could come out of the facilities meetings with more information that we could share with the board, but that goes towards, and I don't know, obviously at some point there was a decision made about the frequency that Anthony Merlini presents, during the year. I personally in my board service so far, the most interaction I have with the community and questions is about facilities. And it's something that I think we have some great buildings, and we have some buildings that obviously need some love and care. And I feel like before I was on the board, I had no idea about how massive a project it was to take care of a district. And then meeting Mr. Merlini and talking to him for 5 minutes made me feel like he's like got all these details, and he is on top of so much. So in my opinion, I would like the community to hear from him more. And whether or not it's, obviously if he's shy, which I don't think he is, but, I just feel like anytime I talk to him, I feel better about the things that are going on and the thoughts that he's put into things, maybe why something hasn't been done. It's like, just the way he is, I feel like would be something that the community could benefit from more.
So, and that's not really on us, right? That's a
Right.
recommendation.
Yeah.
Would it be something, and I don't want to go too off track, but
Yeah.
maybe we've never done this before, and I would say this is an operational piece, but maybe something that Mr. Trombley could speak to Mr. Malini about. Maybe the community would benefit from quarterly facilities updates, right?
Yeah, that's
Not that
one
it
of
doesn't
the
necessarily mean
suggestions
he
I
needs
had.
to be standing here, but.
Right, well,
So-
I was
Just
saying
a
how
different
that
approach.
shows up
This-
is up to
But
like.
this isn't, yeah, but this is not.
That would be bullet 4.
Yeah.
So instead of releasing periodic updates, do you want to change that to releasing quarterly updates?
Yeah, it's a little bit more specific.
They were stuck in there.
Somebody's.
This place is.
The ghost.
It's
spooky season. Spooky
I mean,
season.
quarterly is more than we had last year, isn't
So,
it?
no, but that's what I'm asking, do you want to change then releasing periodic updates to releasing quarterly updates? Or,
That's a start, yeah.
but, because I'm going to take this back and I'm
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
reword
yeah.
it based on what you want. So, read bullet number 4, and then tell me how you would like to reword that, or where your thoughts are there.
Well, you guys are.
Highlighting that one?
Yes, all of that one, the releasing, ensure transparent communication with the public by, and then the 2 bullets
Oh, the
underneath.
black bullet.
Well, and the 2 underneath it, because that's all the subset to it.
So would you just say release, instead of releasing periodic updates, say, the facilities committee will work with.
So I love all of the meat to this action. I feel like it kind of overwhelms me because it's like a little bit, it feels like a little repetitive or a little bit too much meat or too much words. So I like where Erica was going with I think a lot of this does fall on facilities committee. So I think if we can figure it out, and I'm happy to work with you on this offline, if we can figure out how to take this purpose that we've outlined here and make it much more simple, what facilities committee
Should
is
be
going
responsible
to
for.
do
Yeah.
for the board for this goal. And then there's a little piece where policy comes in here, which is cool too, but I feel like we could clean this up. I think
I
all
agree.
of the purpose here is perfect, and I don't think that you have to worry about the purpose of these actions, but more how do we just articulate it better.
Yeah, and that could lead to the facilities updates we should have every meeting.
Yeah, and exactly.
Whether or not it's
I
a
have a
tiny
quick-
little thing,
Yeah.
but we haven't in this last year because we didn't really need that much. But they had the great presentations on the.
3 presentations.
But all the other things that happen that no one knows about really but us, we could share. We could share with people.
So, point
Sorry
of
to
privilege.
begin.
Yeah, that's okay.
I think you're exploring a perfect venue or method of how to share some of that information. I would urge the board to consider that we do have committee updates on each agenda item, and if a committee does meet between a board, when a board does have a public session, that would be the perfect opportunity to share some of the information that came out of whatever committee met at that time.
I was just gonna say, I think that's also part of us doing the template that we would have for just the committees that we have, so then during,
We don't have it yet. Oh, okay.
no, I was
Bring it
just
next
saying, we can do a template where we just share at each board meeting from the committee, so that we have the things in there and we can highlight each one of those committees, like what's been done, and kind of share it out that way too.
Yeah.
And I know that it's in the superintendent's report, like I guess the email that you send out to on Parent Square, like I know you add, Mike, some of the images in there as well. But I think if we do it at the board table too, it'll be like a way for us to just constantly highlight what's happening in the community so that everyone feels like they're seeing progress and we're moving forward instead of just a one meeting where Anthony comes in. And maybe if there's like a really big meeting where like a lot of things happen that month, you know, maybe
Then he comes,
he can come in and give us like a really big overview.
I know he's super busy taking care of everything, but the other part of it, I was gonna suggest, we have a spot on the website that has plans and it has not been updated. So maybe there is an opportunity to have a place where these things live. You know, I don't know if it's our committee reports, because that's kind of dry, but for the website. But, you know, it's like, I know at some point we got drone footage of the construction of the cupola. Okay. Just good ideas. I think it's an opportunity to, you know, a lot of people watch these meetings, but a lot of people don't. And if somebody's on the website and they see, I mean, you know, the presentation from like a few years ago for the construction is on there, but it hasn't been, you know, updated with progress, which there's been a lot of. So, and I know that I don't know who's responsible for that, but if it's.
So we need a new, like we have a page for our old bond, we need a page for our new bond, right? So, but is that, I guess, so let me just make a recommendation about this one. How about the facilities team together comes up with a way to tighten this wording up?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, that reflects what we want, and we'll bring it back to the next,
To the final.
and Amelia, you're on that, right? So she can update it and bring it back to us with that, because I think we're on the same track.
Okay.
And then you guys can decide what's really an
And have these
operational
as the
piece
sum.
and what's like a board
Okay.
piece, and
Yeah, perfect.
I think they're all great.
Yeah, I know, I'm hearing all of this, I'm just trying to, I'm trying to because I'm trying to.
You don't have
do
to
the work.
reword it right now.
No, I know,
We'll
well, I'm
help.
gonna have to, at some point so that we can get these finalized. I'm just trying to figure out what is missing from here that you're saying. I mean, the website, I think, would have to be more of like a goal maybe for the facilities department, right?
I don't
'Cause
think it's
that's-
missing
Yeah, nothing's missing.
I
We're
think
just
it's
saying
actually
we're gonna
like not
clean-
missing anything. I
clean
think
it
it's
up
the
a
way,
little
I
bit.
think
Yeah.
it needs to be just a little bit more tightened up so that the facilities committee has
Clear
like marching
expectations.
orders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you three should actually discuss that. My recommendation is that you three just have a conversation about what that looks like for you.
Yeah.
And then bring it back to
I
us.
think
Okay.
one of the bullet points could just be outlined for the facilities committee to kind of come up
Right.
with a way to kind of push that forward.
That's a good
I
idea,
know,
Tamika.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
Okay. 2, on the, so this is a big year for us. It is our centennial year, so we decided to focus a goal just on that because none of us are gonna be around for the next centennial.
I'm still
Speak
gonna
for
be
yourself.
here. Yeah, I'm gonna be here.
So you guys can read through, I just really tried to take everything you guys, again, were saying last week and put it here. It does seem overwhelming because there was a lot that was said and a lot that we can do. So you guys can look through and see.
I mean, I think this can also be simplified.
I know, but you guys threw a lot of information last week, so I was just trying to get it all
I
in
think
there.
we can take out like the demonstrate visible board presence, right? Because we are gonna be at these events mostly, right?
Yeah.
Or we can just
Do you-
take out the whole thing after demonstrate visible board presence and just delete it.
So does the board,
Just keep it simpler, maybe?
just from a process standpoint, does the board feel as if, from an outs, you know, we're partnerships in these goals, right? It feels to me as if, as you were forming these goals, these, what we're terming as action items, are really just items to help you codify the goals, and they don't necessarily need to be, because if you list them, you're probably going to see them as action items. Where, for me, they appear to help you develop the goals that you're discussing right now. And then we, as the administrative team, we have a clear understanding of what supports we may need to provide to help you achieve those goals as well. Whereas if we see action items, we're going to act.
I love incorporating brief centennial celebrations at board meetings. I think that would be so fun.
Yeah, I don't know who, I literally wrote like verbatim, somebody bought this, somebody gave
I
this
like
to me,
it.
so
You
I
said
didn't
that,
even. No, was it Lauren? Did you say?
No, I had gone off of something Erica said about maybe having like people come in and just, she had mentioned a forum about people talking about things about Hen Hud, and then I said maybe just a forum of, you know, community members from the past coming in, kind of like we do at the senior center, and they just tell us like their favorite memory of Hen
I
Hud.
love that.
And then, you know, it could
I don't
be
think it
like
was me. I think
parents
it was
in the
Lauren.
district, or it's people who went here. You know, you didn't have to go here to have your favorite memory, but,
What's your
you
favorite
know.
memory, your mural?
I thought I heard that.
Yes, so you're plus many other things I probably shouldn't say, but I'm just
I thought I heard that every board member was going to give a presentation about their favorite Hen Hud memory at each board meeting.
Well, I
Slide
just
deck.
spilled Lauren.
I don't recall making much time.
I just spilled Lauren's,
Maybe
it's her mural at Furnace Woods.
So should
That
we
we're gonna cut out
We can
and
have
save
our
for her.
alumni Hen Hud people do that. We can embarrass them. Start working on it now.
But you've
Do
had
you
a
guys
memory
still have
there.
like an outfit from when you wore when you were here?
Yes,
I'm sure Lauren
I have
does.
my 5th grade t-shirt from Furnace Woods and my warm-up outfit for
Um,
cheer.
So I was
And my
saying like
senior
interview for the
t-shirt.
film.
my where I work just had their centennial last year, and they did a capsule. So that might be something, I mean, I don't know if you want to part with your 5th grade t-shirt, but maybe we can look
No.
at putting some items in like a capsule for the next centennial that they can find.
Well, I think that there, you guys are working on a time capsule, right?
Yeah, they
There's
are.
a,
That's awesome.
there's a committee.
Okay.
So
Yeah, there's a lot of
overlap.
overlap with
Yeah.
what we're
Yeah.
doing on the Centennial Committee, because we're also putting together a
Well-
film, and we're gonna be interviewing a lot of the.
I know, I just
alumni.
feel like for us too, like, this is a once in a lifetime, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
already October 8th, and I know that there's work that's happening, but we have to,
We have
I
to
think,
start
start
sharing
making
it
it,
out.
sharing it out,
Yeah.
like making it public and like really celebrate this year and
Yeah.
make it a big, huge, like, let's celebrate Hen Hud year. I kind of feel like you know, like that Hen Hud, I think I put it in here, like the Hen Hud pride,
Yeah.
right? Like, we should definitely show, this is the
Yeah.
perfect year.
To do
And then
it,
to bring
hopefully
that
it
back.
carries on in the future,
Yes,
right?
right? It's that perfect time to build on that.
Do you want,
I mean, I even put it in the goal, the Hendrick
Okay.
Hudson Pride.
Should we take
I can
out the
comment
3
too.
on the bottom, I guess, and then
and maybe combine them?
combine them, yeah? Because I feel like that the third one sort of encompasses the stuff at the bottom too, right?
What's the third one?
Like the demonstrate visible,
Okay.
sorry, I'm looking at.
No,
mine. It's
I'm
too,
sorry,
that's
I'm
way too
just
small
a-
for me. This,
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
it's way
keep
too
this
small.
one.
Yeah, keep that one, right? Because this almost is like condensed in there as well.
Well, you see regular updates, I mean, 3 of us are on, and
Yeah.
Mr. Conley are all on the committee.
And Ms. Collins.
She's not here.
Well, I mean, she'll be.
I know,
And
but-
Ms. Collins.
I have some shorter. Do you want me to just read these to you, Amelia?
Sure.
And see what everyone thinks? So the wording, just to make it more concise, promote centennial events through board communications, meetings, and partnerships. I think that covers a few of these. Then incorporate short centennial recognitions at board meetings.
Yeah.
Attend centennial events to show board presence and connect with the community. Receive regular updates on centennial planning and participation. Encourage broad community participation in centennial activities. Highlight district achievements and traditions to celebrate Hendrick Hudson Pride. Host a centennial forum to engage students, alumni, and community members. Like, simple.
And I know this was a lot on the centennial, and we are doing community engagement within here. Lauren, I know you had some other ideas that were not just focused on the centennial. Are there anything else you wanted to add in to here?
I just thought that, like, last year, we had just strengthened community engagement. I just think that should still be overall, and it shouldn't just be for the centennial, because, like, I think I mentioned to you guys, like, maybe we can't all get to a centennial event, or we're not all able to be on the committees and things like that, so maybe it's, I still think we should, and maybe not everyone's interested in the centennial, so, I don't know if people take our goals like so serious, like that's the only thing we're working on, but like, I think we, what?
I have an easy solution.
Yeah.
At the end, just add a bullet point that says, as needed, further community engagement? Is that
Well,
covered?
I think it should just be further community engagement regardless.
Yeah.
Like, we go to so many things that are not just Centennial. I think we should just, obviously, we're gonna keep doing
So-
that, whether it's whether it's, we're gonna keep doing that. We don't have to make that a goal, that's what we do. But I do think people should still know that we're trying to engage with them and we're there for the community,
Yeah.
we're like
So you
their.
wanna just add in at the bottom something like continue, community engagement through our meet and greets,
Yeah.
stuff like that would,
Or you could just write and general community engagement or something like that,
but
like-
yeah.
Expand and encourage community
Or and
engagement.
overall community engagement.
Amelia, can I make a suggestion?
Absolutely.
Some of the ideas that I sent you and Tamika during the week.
Uh-huh.
I agree with you that there are gonna be, I mean, not that they're not school spirit, but there are a lot of people that have too much on their plates to be celebrating the 100 years when it was 100 years ago. So I feel like one of the biggest challenges we have as a district is like the digital fatigue and the reaching people getting information, even though we feel like we're giving out so much information. One of the thoughts I had, and this is literally just a thought starter, because I know people, there are lots of committees and people are stretched, but is there an opportunity to, like, we have a lot of committees and I feel like communications is something that we could really use a committee for. And whether it's like a subcommittee, I don't know if it's something that you run but with a parent, some parent representatives, some senior citizen representatives, teacher representatives, student representatives, collectively meeting, and if it's about a specific topic or just representing how people want to be. Like we did our thought exchange. People said text, email, or don't. I already get too much. Stop talking to me or whatever. It's a little bit like the thought exchange to me is it's a nice tech tool, but if we had representation, maybe somebody from the town of Cortland is on the committee. We have a lot of things going on, with trying to advocate. Obviously you guys have the committee that meets about that, the advocacy committee. So like the word committee, I've just said like 50,000 times. So maybe it's not a committee, but I don't know how else. But to me, this is like the topic. This is the reason that I wanted to join the board to help with this. And it's what I do for my job. So, I'm hoping that there's something a little bit more specific that rather than just say like, continue to focus on engagement, like how are we going to focus on engagement?
Go ahead.
I feel it should just be, like I had mentioned, or I feel we should, I don't know how to make it happen, but I feel like the board should be there to support people in the community when they feel they have an issue, or as a sounding board. Like, we can't solve everything, obviously, but maybe we can find a way to bring it back to who can solve it, or just like we do on a daily basis with people we encounter, our friends or other people in the community. We try to guide them on who to go to for things, or, we hear things from so many people. I know we all are so busy, even if there was just a way, like you said.
You said something last week about meet for coffee with just one board member.
Yeah.
Like, that stuck with me.
Like if someone has.
Instead of a meet and greet, but like meet
Yeah.
Erica Mills
I know
at
we
Dunkin',
probably
because she lives
can't-
right there. And
Yeah, like I know we probably can't meet I don't know if we
Yeah.
have to meet two people, but yeah, or just we could mutually agreed upon time or whatever it is.
So, I know, and
I know, now it's getting crazy, but.
I was gonna say, so we could do more than beyond what we put in the goals.
Yeah,
These are
and-
just things that we know for
Mhm.
sure. Like, one of the things I was passionate about last year was the student ex officio member. And we had thought we were going to make that a goal, and then we ended up scrapping it as a goal, but we still
Right,
did
it doesn't have to,
right?
right,
So
just because it's not listed
if it's-
doesn't mean we can't do it.
I feel like we always do some form of community engagement goal, and that was actually what we had last week, and then we tailored it more to the centennial, just because we're not gonna be able to do this again next year.
Yeah,
So
so
our
keep the
focus could be on
centennial
here.
goal, maybe.
not to say we're not going to do any of the other items. Like, I still am very passionate about the student ex officio, like expanding it and getting a whole advisory and doing all of that. We're just not making it a board goal, but it's still something that we will be working on throughout the year.
I just want to make sure it doesn't fall off people's radar, because we've talked about it last year, like, do we get together like a small group of people, or, so if we don't, we're just all so busy and we have so many things on the agenda always, and I feel like if it's not, it doesn't have, I'm not saying it has to be on there, but in some way, we need to like have sort of a communications plan with the community.
I know that one of the things you talked about is just also like expanding sort of the website portion of the board's portion of the website. And maybe that's someplace where we can add those kind of things, since we're gonna be updating the pictures and all that kind of stuff on there. Maybe there's some information we can add on there, like ask a board member a question, have coffee with a board member, maybe we think about stuff like that as a group. But we have to add it to really just do our best to communicate more with the community. I think we just have to figure out what's the best solution for that.
So now I'm wondering if we make a separate goal for that, or do we want to?
No.
Because we had this, I know it, but I feel like this one is all about the centennial.
Well, I think if you
Do we
keep
want
it,
to
you have-
take the focus back away from that and add, it's just how much stuff are we?
But I think we have strengthened in community engagement. I think we can just do a bullet point to just continuing to collaborate and work on expanding.
Strengthen community outreach and engagement efforts.
I
And
mean,
then we
that's
don't
all
have to
we-
define what, as a group, we can come up with ideas and bring them back to each other and have
I think
check-ins,
that's the best
conversations.
way to do it.
If you have specific ideas, you could always email them to Amelia and Tamika. We can bring them back here to discuss them, right?
Yeah. I think we do it that way as a bullet
Strengthen
point.
overall.
Well, yeah, I think that's good.
Community engagement or something.
Then we'll
just
just
keep
take
it
that out. so then-
General, but it.
Yeah, it's general, but
envelopes,
it'll.
like everything.
Yeah, it'll involve the entire community and also the communication of that, and not just about the centennial. So I think we do that.
Just a point of information, as the board is having this discussion, it was raised about starting a committee. There is a policy on establishing committees that the board may wish to explore if they want to do that.
What's the policy number?
The policy number is 2250.
I know he had it picked up, that's why I looked at it.
I don't have that memorized.
We should have just amazed everybody. Okay, we will update that. Looking at number 3, we actually did not update from last week, so if you look again, read it again, let me know. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry, we did update it.
We
If
added
you
the
look at the last
policy.
bullet, again, we absorbed policy into here, and that's the 6,000 series
So-
fiscal management.
My policy partner.
Yes.
This is very lofty.
Well,
Hold on.
it didn't say all of them, but
Okay.
as, I can add the words in, I took them out because I started to see the redundancies, like, as needed. If we put in that last one,
As
it's
needed.
not that we're going to do all of them.
Okay, we
It's
just
just,
need to clarify that, and like, after that, we clarify that, I think this is perfect,
Okay.
myself personally.
yeah, I know, I just, as I was writing these, I started to see in this one, it was like that redundancy. So I was
I just
trying
think-
to remove them out, so just put as needed.
As needed.
Anybody else have any other questions or comments or updates for 3?
It's great, thank you.
Looks good.
Okay, let's move on to 4. So this was the one that was on student success, and we kind of just identified and defined what that meant to us a little bit more, taking the curriculum piece and adding onto it other student wellness indicators and student well-being. So if you want to look through there. And we did also add then on the policy, I'll add as needed
As
to
needed,
that
yeah,
other
for
one as
that.
well.
Is it
5,000
possible for
series.
us to condense, I would say, bullets, is that 3? Hold on, sorry, I can't see. Yeah, 3 and 4, so that it just is one bullet point instead of it being 2, because I feel like it's both the same things that we're gonna be doing on both of those.
And I actually think it should be the first, it should be the number 1 at the top of this.
Which
no?
one? Well, the only reason why I separated the 2 is one was more on curriculum, and then the other was more on social emotional.
Like, I think if it just read, review quarterly reports on academic achievement, curriculum updates, and student wellness data, including physical, mental, and social emotional health indicators to ensure progress towards district goals and guide policy and program decisions, instead of having it to be two separate things.
That's fine. Can you send that to, that's perfect.
Yeah, I can update it on the sheet. Do you want me to, here, I'll steal this and just, I'll copy and update Amelia. Let me see if I can, actually, I have a note, I'll add it,
Yeah,
I have no service in
I
here.
mean,
I keep forgetting I can't.
I'm a
open
paper
it.
and pen kind of gal,
Oh,
so
I
last week my
can't.
papers were,
But I do think
I was
that-
sitting there reading all my little
I think
notes.
that should be the first bullet.
Yeah, I put that,
Yeah, we
I
can
put that
choose
note,
it,
I
yeah.
got you.
It's really, I think it's the,
Participate actively as we.
Looking through anything else, Allison, you have anything you want to add on this? Because I know this is kind of your wheelhouse.
I loved the wording, and I
Okay.
don't mind the consolidation.
Okay,
Simpler is always better.
okay. Anybody else? Lauren, how you feel on that one?
Good.
Lori, we're good? All right. You can kind of get like where everyone's like passionate about.
Everybody's.
Okay, so we will make more revisions. Our next board meeting is in 2 weeks. And we will bring these back hopefully to have our, well, it doesn't matter if it's final or not, we'll bring them back for another run through and then potentially adopt our goals at the next meeting if the revisions we make are good.
Can I just ask you one quick question?
Sure.
I don't remember exactly, but I remember we had a check-in maybe twice last year. Like, what's the plan for checking in to
It's on
update
the
our
list.
progress?
Mike is bringing up
it's
the
on the
list.
list.
Okay.
So,
On the list.
And I would ask that I felt like last year we made a lot of progress, but I didn't like come to those meetings like knowing, like maybe we have some sort of thing that we all talk about or like just be prepared to really update our progress in those meetings.
so we have scheduled an update towards district and board goals on December 16th, and then again another update on district and board goals on June 17th.
That's my answer.
Update every-
Okay. I think that sounds good. So mid-year and end of year.
Yes, correct.
Awesome.
Okay. You ready to move on? That brings us to committee reports.
I have two.
All right, go for it.
Okay, so my first one is the PTSA, the Hendrick Hudson High School PTSA. They're doing a shop the show sale of the retired fashion show items on October 21st during lunch at the high school for the students to purchase items at a very discounted rate. We're thinking $2 to $10 max, like items. The kids are gonna have to bring cash because they don't have their phones anymore, so that's just a gentle reminder about that. But with that, we're asking the whole community to participate in going through their closets, finding fashion show worthy donations. And there's a donation box at the high school. We'll take just about anything and go through it. Whatever we can't use in the show, we will donate, we'll push it forward, we'll donate it forward. Think everything, this year is gonna be something around the centennial with decades, because we've not decided 100% yet how it will be, but think about the decade piece, gowns, everything from gowns to jean jackets, like it's gonna be, we can take anything. So there's a drop box at the high school, or anyone can contact me about that, but we're hoping to get to sell some items that have been used multiple times and retire them and then get some new items in. So the whole community that would be great. The other thing is the PTA Advocacy Committee met this week. They're working really hard right now on figuring out what they want to focus on this year. And they actually sent a survey. They only had 7 participants. So they're going to revise it and send it again to the entire community. I encourage everyone to take part in that because they really need to know. There's a lot of people on that committee ready, willing, and able to like support every aspect of our community. They need help and they need input. So just take the time to do that. The one thing we left with, 2 things we left with from that meeting were they're gonna continue to focus on supporting the district and the community on Indian Point decommissioning and funding for the district. And there's a lot of ideas around that. And the other one was to get students more involved. So that's the two goals. So just when you get that survey, just take a couple minutes. It literally takes a couple minutes just to fill out for them. And that'll help them guide their work.
Thank you.
Anyone else with committee reports?
I'll just mention the trunk retreat for the elementary PTA is the October 17th, I think, right? That's Friday from 6 to 8
And that also will
at
be
Frenchie Lindsay.
that will also be the last day of the book sale, so you can
Yes.
also do the book sale.
Yes, and they're selling pizza,
Simultaneously.
taking pizza orders.
Yes, they're taking pizza orders, I did see that.
So,
SEPTA has a meeting tomorrow night, by the way. And you can meet Miss Lisa Martino Alves. It's like a meet and greet at the Henhud High School Library.
And are they doing that Northwell Health presentation?
Yes, that's also tomorrow.
Okay.
And we will also be doing, at, I believe it's now the 22nd, I'm sorry, the November 19th board meeting, we will do an overview of that Northwell Health partnership in public as well.
Anything on that end of the table?
Nobody talked about the middle school, but I know there's a meet and greet with Dr. Toro tomorrow morning at 8
Oh,
a.m.
at 8 a.m.
Where is it?
At the middle school somewhere.
With coffee, I think.
Yes.
Coffee,
With
yes.
coffee.
I'm not really sure where it is at the middle school, but I know it's at 8 o'clock tomorrow.
Who's the PTA rep of us? I'm Matt.
I am.
I think I am.
Oh, you are?
Maybe
Both
both
of
of us
you,
are?
yeah, both of you guys.
I don't know.
We're
I
co.
know. Maybe.
I was last year. I don't know.
We're co for high school.
Yeah. I just, they had a meeting, but then it was canceled and changed.
But
to,
they,
like-
yeah, they rescheduled because of, there was a FGL
Yeah, there was
parent
some
teacher,
conflict.
like back to school night.
Yeah.
they have their dance coming up too on the 24th, I believe, the Friday, the Halloween
The
dance
Halloween.
from 6 to
6:30 to 9.
different times, yeah. Everyone has a different time. And I think they have a book fair coming up too, right? In November, I saw.
3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Facilities is meeting in a week and change, so next time we'll have something to say about it.
Yes.
We'll have our goals
We'll have our goals
We
done.
will, yeah.
We
We'll
could
have a
do that.
template.
Yeah.
Curriculum
That will be
committee
done.
is meeting.
Goals done.
Action items.
Our 30th.
The 30th, right? And
And
then,
then we have things coming up.
oh, yeah.
Okay.
Professional learning.
And we had no policy tonight, but don't worry, we will be coming back soon.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Just a brief update, I apologize. So we have made I'm sorry, we have made it, this will be quick. We did make a transition to a new help desk over the summer. So I did mention an email address that was incorrect if you are having trouble with your Infinite Campus portal. If you cannot access your Infinite Campus portal, please submit a ticket to or an email to, it's no www, it's just https://lic.servic-now.com/student. And this will be sent out to all parents in the future. But I did not want people to have
We need a tiny
incorrect
URL for that.
information.
Really, really?
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
again, that will all be put in writing. And a clickable link.
At this time, I will ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second.
All in favor?